Buddha's Bodhisattva's here. The atmosphere is changing now. Pure land beings have appeared. The evidence is all around. Buddha's Bodhisattva's here. Overflow in this place. Fill our hearts with your love. Wisdom surrounds us. You're the reason we came to encounter your grace. Your power surrounds us. We're the reason you came. Grant your blessings, your name. Bestow your mercy. The power of your great vow can empower us now. Bestow your mercy. Great holy beings, fall fresh on us. We need your presence. Your kingdom come, your will be done, here as in heaven. Your light surrounds us. 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 Your light surrounds us.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Gurunam Saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam Saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham Saranam gacchami. Tatyampi Buddham Saranam gacchami. Tatyampi Dhammam Saranam gacchami. Tatyampi Sangham Saranam gacchami.
Today is March 29th. We're in a new season. The season's called spring. A lot has guided us to this day in spring. The time changed. That was maybe the most drastic for some of us anyhow. The trees are starting to come, colors are coming, and the shrubs are amazing. And if you look down to the earth, you see these little things that aren't supposed to be there, these little flowers coming up. I was walking through the other day and went, oh, look at that. If you're really paying attention, you see things not just up in the sky with the trees or the shrubs, but if you look into the ground and maybe the beds of the flowers. It's a time when everything is exploding. And there's maybe some relief. Whew, winter's over with. You can say, remember that ice? Remember that snow? Remember the wind? Oh, well, that doesn't mean the wind's not going to come, but okay, I won't say what might come. It's still March, and there is still April. But everything's starting to show themselves. And, the heads are turning towards putting seeds in the ground. We got the flower fields happening over in Weaverville. They go back. I said, how was it? I said, it was great. We did a lot of work, and things are starting to sprout. It's a fine time of the year. And it slowly leads us, usually slowly. When I lived in Alaska, it was very slowly leading us into those few days of summer. Then the fall came for a few more days, and then it was winter again. So depending on where you live, spring means a lot. Then there's sports, and games, and children are out playing in the fields. Change. The season can give us a clear picture of the cycles of life, the perennials and the annuals. Now, I know about them, but when I was thinking about talking about them, I think I've got to read a little bit more about perennials and annuals, not just that one lasts longer than the other. The perennials come back every year. Every year. Now, for me, I can't look at one or the other in the summer and say which is which. The perennials are invisible in the winter. They go dormant. As does a lot of things. You think nothing's happening, but really underground, there's a lot happening. And then about this time of year, things started showing themselves. But in the fall, they die back. The annuals, on the other hand, are just for a short period of time. Now, the conditions for both of those are really important. You got to have the right soil. Got to have sun. Not too early, not too late. Some are early, some are late. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know what you're doing. And they have a lifespan, unless they don't. Unless they don't, because they haven't been cared for. They haven't been noticed. They haven't been tended to. If the days go long, you have to get out there and water. If there's a lot of rain, we don't have to bother with that right away, but why don't you still check on them? You still okay? You still okay? Of course, the yard, got to start mowing again. And in the spring, it's a lot of mowing. In the summer, it kind of goes a little quieter, maybe. And then in the fall, not so much. When I lived in Oregon, the yards were green straight through because we didn't get that much hot sun. But other places I've lived, it got a little brown in the summer. And so you didn't have to really be with it that much. But you got to know. You got to know these things. So perennials and annuals. Where are you at? Where are you at with annuals and perennials? I'm not saying you should be one or the other because both are important. And hopefully you are perennial in lots of respects because you come back every year. Every year. What season are you experiencing right now? We often talk about what season of life are you in? Some of us are at the tail end of the season, which is, starting to get quieter and a little more wintry, maybe. Some of us are at the maybe spring and summer of it, but we're all in all of that. We just look differently in our seasons. But what season are you in? What seeds are you planting? What do you expect to return year after year? Just take a second and consider that for yourself. What season are you in? And not just I'm in this particular season, but why that particular season right now? What seeds are you planting? How deep are you planting them? How shallow are you planting them? What do you hope you'll get from those seeds? Both for yourself and for all those that will notice that your seeds are ripening. When I was considering doing this Dharma talk, I always think of a name that Social Sangha asks for a name and think of really, but I do because it guides me where I'm going to head or where I think I'm going to head. Sometimes you get here and it says, no, and it made me try something different, but mostly I try to stick because I have something to share. So I thought about it and I sat with it. And one thought was the path leading forward. The path leading forward. It's kind of a nice spring title. It's also where we are, where our Sangha is. Walking on after our teacher's passing. It was just last Thursday that I marked, I don't know if anybody else has marked, I marked a month since Venerable has passed. A month. Sometimes I think, gosh, did she just die? And sometimes I think, gosh, it feels like it's been so long since we sat with her in her room. Every day is a little different, and it's shifting. Like the plants right now, it's shifting a little bit. And just when you think those new sprouts are coming up, the others are not quite there yet. It takes time. It's a journey. Our beloved abbot, spiritual director, teacher, died 1 month ago last Thursday. And 2 weeks from yesterday, we'll be celebrating the life that she shared with us. Many of us know the Buddhist tradition of 49-day period. It's often seen as a time of transition, not only for the consciousness of the person that has died, but also, and maybe more importantly, for those who remain. It's a time for reflection, for practice, and for gently integrating the reality of impermanence into our lives. If we let it. If we let it. Her 49th day will be 4 days beyond the memorial that we will be having. Just 4 days. Pretty incredible that we should have both so close. So I thought, what do I say under these circumstances? What am I going to say? And then I stopped myself and said, no, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? Some of you may say, really, I mean, it's sort of like I've just kind of moved on. And some of us that were with her sometimes day in and day out, long days, maybe aren't there yet. You drive down a certain part of town, Joe, you don't pull into the driveway to pick her up. Maybe you got there early and she was late. Those memories, we joke with you on Tuesdays and Fridays. You don't have Venerable to excuse you anymore. For me, I was early on waking early and thinking, what's happening today and how I got it, because I got to send a text out to her. And that stopped. Just like I did with my mom who died, and every Sunday I would call her. And then when she died, it was like, even going for the phone. So in grief, we go through all these parts. Some days are different than others. Some days are better than others. Some days are harder. Some days are easier. It doesn't have to be just death. Grief of any sort. We don't often in this society, we do better, but we don't often talk about this, about loss. And those, as we know, losing a job, losing a partner through not just death, but separation, divorce, children leaving the nest. I didn't have children leaving the nest, but I had thousands of children that I worked with over the years. They left my nest when they graduated. That was not easy. I can't imagine that being my child. My brother was, good luck. My sister-in-law was holding tightly. They had to make room for each other, just like we have to make room for each other in our process of grieving. The other day, I think it was the other day, maybe it was more than just the other day, but I'm sort of in a recovery of a little accident, and maybe not so little. And Reba came to my door, bless her heart, brought me a smoothie She opened the door and handed it to me, and she said, Venerable wants a candle. She meant that. But in my mind and where I was and what was happening at the time, I had a visceral reaction. I was about ready to get up and see what she needed. That happens. You go to reach the phone. I would make a phone call to remind her that this is happening in 30 minutes. And then she would want to talk. And I'm watching the clock. Tick, tick, tick. And sometimes I would call in the afternoon to try to check in about something, one item. And 2 hours later. And I was, but now what I would give for that extended phone call. And what about, I don't know if anybody else, I started calling this experience driveway dharma. We would take her home at the end of a very long day. She was looking really tired. Pull into the driveway, depending on the season. It could be dark, whatever. And there you would sit, getting dharma for an hour, 2 hours. I was leaving the car on, then I started turning it off. I give anything for some driveway dharma, especially when you're thinking, oh, what about this? Or what about that? Or what have I missed? What should I remember? And it also brings up for me memories of my father, my mother, my brother, and a dear friend. Those memories come up. They're not just gone, and that's okay. Take a minute to consider your memories these last 4 weeks. Take a minute. Regardless of what the nature of your relationship was, regardless of how often you saw her, wrote her, texted her. Memories are important. And they're not to be attached to or clinging to. And that's a catchy place right now in grief. In grief. Shakyamuni Buddha states, all conditioned things are subject to decay. Strive on with diligence. So he says, subject to decay, strive on. I love that. Strive on. What does striving on look for you to be doing? What does striving on feel like for you? The Buddha Master teaches that all conditioned things are impermanent. How many times have you heard that or said that or been told that? Sometimes when you least want to hear it. But what does it mean to you? How do you carry it day to day? All conditioned things, all conditioned things. Each of us, all these things, health, friendships, your favorite item in the grocery store is not there, or it's decaying right in front of you. Where do you meet? All conditioned things are impermanent. And when you meet that, what comes up for you? Denial, delusion, grasping, holding, attachment, relief, joy. All conditioned things are impermanent. It's not just a philosophical idea, just nothing to be said as a flippant, because we can get there. Well, all things are impermanent. It's really important to know what you're saying when you say it, or to know what you're feeling when you hear it or see it. It's a lived truth that reveals itself in moments of loss of any sort. The dent in the car, that first dent in the car, all the way up to, I don't know, most of you probably didn't hear or read about it, but Tar Sahara in California is an old, beautiful monastery. The temple was burned to the ground. I mean, it's got years and years of life in it. And the pictures I've seen, flattened, gone. Attachment, clinging, I never was there, but I knew many people that went and stayed for a weekend or for weeks. Impermanence is a conditional response to what's happening. It reveals itself over and over and over all day long. The passing of our teacher, especially one who has guided our community with wisdom and compassion, brings this truth into sharp and sometimes very painful clarity. How has it been for you this last 4 weeks? Even leading up to the death of Venerable, watching her slowly and sometimes not so slowly releasing herself from this body. So here we are in the grieving process, like it or not. Some of us are further along, and some of us are being dragged along. Some of us may be reliving other losses, and some of us just don't know what to do with it. But grief is a part of our practice when we stay with it, when we're present with it, without clinging to what is past, or without pushing away what we feel. And only then do we see its changing nature. Sat with that this morning when I was thinking, what shall I say? This is changing. I'm changing. I look out the window, that's changing. It's changing. We begin to see the nature of change through impermanence. Venerable's life was a teaching. We all know that. We all experienced it differently. Her presence, her words, her actions were all expressions of the Dharma. And she made sure that you knew that. While her physical form is no longer with us, it was dropped off a month ago. The conditions she cultivated continue to ripple outward. You can see it everywhere. If we listen to each other, if we listen, we hear. I hear it all the time. Sometimes in class, sometimes just talking with you. You know, Venerable would say, blah, 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 blah. You know, Venerable would do blah, 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 blah. You know, Venerable would guide, blah, 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 blah. You choose. You've all pretty much heard something along those lines many, many times. That's her life moving on. Are we? The seeds of kindness, discipline, patience, sometimes not so much patience, but wisdom, absolutely for sure. Absolutely for sure. She planted all those in our community. And we know she planted them around the world. And I was one of the lucky ones to bear witness to all of that. To the places she would go, I was able to be with her. All those places, all those people. We were the lucky ones. We got to be here day in and day out, every week, to listen to take in the transmission that she sat here and gave for months and months and years. There's a show, I don't watch much in the last weeks, but there's a show, I think it's on Netflix, called Ripple. It's amazing. I thought, what do you suppose this is? Anybody seen it? Mm-hmm. And you think it's going to be one thing, and it really is something very much. I encourage you, talk about Dharma, I encourage you to look at it and to watch it and stay the course with it. Because as it evolves, the rippling effect becomes so evident. Ripple. That's what we're experiencing here. Not like that movie, but what we are experiencing here. Us together, the new people that come, the people that come and go, the people we see outside because they think, oh, have I seen you before? It's how we speak, it's how we listen, and how we care for one another. Not just on Sundays, every day, all the time. How we speak, how we listen, how we care for one another, and how we practice. Body, speech, and mind, all the time. And especially to each other. When you get to know each other, you start slacking. You get to just think that, oh, we know each other. Oh, you know me. I know you. That's just you. It's not right. That's not right speech. That's not right view. That's not right action. So at this 1 month threshold, we can ask ourselves, how are we holding her memory? Consider that. How are we holding her memory as individuals and as a Sangha? How are we continuing the practice she embodied? How are we doing that as individuals and as a Sangha? How do we meet this moment of absence with presence? How do we meet this moment of absence with presence? What seeds are we watering and tending to? Clearly, she's not sitting in this chair I am. Vastly different in so many ways, and yet you still come. Last week was Pusita, vastly different than Venerable, and still you come. Yes, it's about the teacher that is so important, but it's truly about the Dharma. So the questions I ask you is taking the Dharma that she shared so willingly over and over again, whether it was at lunch, in the driveway, or sitting here. The Buddha often pointed to the importance of right remembrance, not clinging to the past, but also not forgetting the teachings embodied by those who have walked the path with us. With us. And I'm not talking just the teachers, with each other. Whether they're present or not, they have walked the path to some degree or another. To remember our teacher is not only to recall her image or her words, but to actualize the Dharma she lived. What was that Dharma that you received? We can honor her in 3 simple ways. And I thought about that. I said, okay, so now what? If you know me, you know I have the what, the so what, the now what. And I'm asking you to really explore the so what. And so I wondered, well, what can that look like? My first thought was through practice. Sit, breathe, walk in awareness, always. In awareness, always. Let your mindfulness be a continuation of the path that she supported. Now, I know we have our moments. We get caught up in life. I have a recent experience of that. I had 3 things to do in 45 minutes. And it wasn't here, it was out there. And I was in a hurry because I had to drive that way and that way and that way in 45 minutes. And I went blazing out the door, literally, hit that first step that has a lip on it, and went soaring, literally soaring, not onto the steps, that would have been much better, catapulted off into the stone wall that is out there with a garden. That was quite a scene, but no one saw it. I'm really sorry about that because it would have probably been amazing.
You don't put first.
Well, it was a headbutt to a stone wall. Of course, there were jokes that followed. You know, Soma, maybe you should just practice trying to go through the wall first instead of or maybe even something that's not so hard. Venerable would sit here and she'd go like this, not yet, meaning that she had gotten high enough in her spiritual journey that she could do what many people have, not many people, many, how do we call it? Masters, I guess, been able to allow themselves to transcend. Oh, to be able to do that a few weeks ago. But I didn't. There was blood. There was pain. There was even a black eye that I think most of you didn't see. Two. Okay. Everybody was gone, but Maureen went through the requisite tests with a little bit of resistance. And I'm still healing. It's not going as fast as I want it to go. I can move my arms, legs, everything was x-rayed. The head's taking some time. Mindfulness. If you don't pay attention, it'll get you. I've had several occasions where I went, okay. I guess not yet. Second, thinking of our conduct. Speech, action. Speak with care. Speak with thoughtfulness. Act with compassion, with loving kindness. And it can look like through the Sangha, through coming here. I know that Reba has reached out for some support for the memorial. People have stood up and said, okay, yeah, there. And not just being asked, but to check in. And our society typically says, yeah, we're fine. In my head, I'm fine. Till Kadar looked at me and said, no, you're not fine. We're going to urgent care. And urgent care said, this is above our pay grade. You're going to the ER. So just because someone said we're good, I'm okay, you get to say, just give me one thing. Give me one thing. Because that's our job together, is to support each other. Sometimes dana, which is the gifting of money to keep the lights on. Sometimes food, many of you have. Sometimes coming over and maybe pulling weeds, mowing the grass. Conduct. How do we show up? Where there is confusion, let there be clarity. Where there is tension, let there be patience. Where there is suffering, let there be kindness. We're all suffering. Right, Joe? Still suffering. He always reminds me how he first came, or us actually, how he first came in the door and said, well, I'm not suffering. I don't know if you said it quite like that. And then he got it. We're all suffering. We just don't always show it. We just don't always say it. We're all suffering. Sometimes we show it and you think, oh, what's going on there? Third was to let go. Lay it down, I often say. Let it be is another way to say it. Perhaps this is the most difficult. Letting go in this particular situation does not mean forgetting. Does not mean forgetting. It means to release that attachment that we may be having, that clinging to anything that's changed. I don't want this to change. I've always done it this way. They've always seen me this way. I got to keep doing it the way they always see me to do it. I wear the robes. I can't have any headbutting going on and that I wasn't mindful. Not to mention, I don't like to be, cared about. I'm learning. It's a childhood thing. What childhood thing are you carrying that you continue to lay at the feet of people? In some traditions, offerings are made during this period of grief. Not because those who have died require them in the material sense, but because the act of offering cultivates generosity, merit, and a mind of gratitude. When we offer incense, prayers, or other offerings, we are also illuminating our minds. We're reading about this over and over again in the Dharma of imparting the Heart Sutra. Over and over again. That's our goal, illuminating. So let us take a moment to recognize the impermanence of all conditioned things, everything. This thing, this thing, this thing, our bodies, our minds. The interdependence, and Thich Nhat Hanh often talks about interdependence of teacher and student. And not just teacher that sits up here, but we're all teachers and we're all students. Be open to that. Be open to say, oh, I already read that. I'll read it again. I already heard that. I'll hear it again. Because yesterday you heard it. You're a different person today. Your life is different. Your experience is different. I know that already. Know it again. Allow others to teach us. Allow us to teach each other. Not so much in a formal setting like this, but always, always. Every threshold moment. I'm never going to let that go. Everything's a threshold. So every threshold moment, be the teacher, be the student. Listen, watch, don't speak until it's the right time. And it has something additive to offer. The continuity of practice beyond physical presence. Practice is so much bigger than us sitting in here in front of any of these deities. So much bigger than that. It guides us, it helps us, it allows us to open. But practice goes so much further than just this physical presence. It's listening, it's knowing, it's receiving. And let us all allow gratitude to arise. Not only for what we lost, the body's gone. That body's gone. But for what we have been given over and over again. Sometimes said differently, sometimes said the same thing. Venerable's life was not ended by death of the body. Like all phenomena, it transformed. Sometimes we forget about that. The form has dissolved, but her influence continues. In this way, in this very way, we don't meet absence with despair, but with responsibility. The responsibility to carry the Dharma forward, whatever that looks like for you. It can mean many things and not just those things for you. The Dharma is vast and wide. It's every day. So let's consider this intention. As we continue beyond this 1 month milestone, may we walk with steadiness. May we grieve with awareness. May we remember with clarity. And may we practice in a way that truly honors the life and teaching we have received from Venerable Panyawadi. Again, the Buddha taught that all conditioned phenomena are impermanent. Birth leads to aging and death. Meeting leads to separation. Accumulation leads to loss. These aren't abstract truths. They're the very fabric. We were talking about fabric the other day, weaving. And it came to me, it's the very fabric of a lived experience. What are you weaving? What threads are you using? Are you paying attention, or do you have to go back and do it again? Maybe that's not so bad. The passing of our teacher brings this truth into immediate awareness. I'm going to ask us and invite us to slide into a short but important meditation. Let's take time to sit and be with all that's been shared this morning. Check your posture. Is it stable and relaxed? Allow your spine to be upright, your hands resting gently. Close your eyes or gently soften your gaze. Bring your attention to the natural breath. Bring your attention to your body. Relax it if it's needed. And notice the in-breath and the out-breath. There is no need to change the breath, only to observe it as it is. With each inhale, you are aware. I'm breathing in. With each exhale, you are aware. I am breathing out. Let the breath come and go naturally. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. With each breath is impermanence. Breath is done. It's on to the next breath. Now gently bring to mind the presence of Venerable Paniwadi, not in form, but in essence. Recall her qualities: steadiness, kindness, clarity, compassion. Allow gratitude to arise naturally without forcing it. Again, turning toward the experience of impermanence, notice how each breath arises and passes, each thought, each memory. Each sensation in the body arises and passes away. Each thought arises and passes away. Nothing remains unchanged. If grief or sadness is present, acknowledge it gently. Grief is here. Don't wear it. Just notice it. Allow it to be felt in the body without resistance. Notice where it's located. Breathe into that space with kindness. On the in-breath, silently notice arising. On the out-breath, silently notice passing. Everything we experience follows this pattern. Notice the whole body just sitting here. This living process, changing moment by moment. Rest in this awareness, this open, spacious, present moment, like a spring field of growing wildflowers. Nothing to hold on to, nothing to push away. Now let go even of the effort. Rest in simple awareness. Aware of breathing, aware of presence, aware of impermanence. As you sit quietly, let us reflect in this space of stillness that we recognize that what we are honoring is not only a person, but the unfolding of conditions that gave rise to a life of practice. Venerable's legacy is not confined to memory. It is carried forward in each act of sincerity, each moment of mindfulness, each expression of compassion. Let us now dedicate the merit of this practice here today. May we be dedicated to the peaceful continuation of the Venerable's journey beyond this life. May it support her favorable conditions for awakening, free from obstacles. And may it strengthen our own commitment to the path of liberation for the benefit of all beings. May any wholesome energy generated through our meditation, our reflection, and gathering today be offered in gratitude and respect to Venerable. May it also extend to all beings everywhere. May those who are grieving find comfort. May those who are suffering find relief. May those who are confused find clarity. May all beings be free from fear and suffering. May all beings progress towards liberation. And let us also dedicate the merit of this practice to be of benefit to all our teachers, to all our community, and all sentient beings. May all beings awaken to the truth of impermanence, cultivate compassion, and realize liberation.